let's get started. Like to call the meeting to order and we'll have some open remarks here by the mayor. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so we're recording this. It's not live, but it is being recorded. So as you speak, cough, the owl here will follow you.
No, towards the end of the screen.
Great. Yeah. Well, I'd like to start off with some introductions. And so I wanted to, who you are, why you're here, and then what your skills are. Whether it's the finance side, construction, whatever that is. So let's start with you.
Sure. My name is Amy Smisher. I'm on city council. I am here because I was appointed by the mayor to be on this committee. I think that the budget is probably the single most important thing that city council does. So I was very, very happy to be on this committee. Because I think it requires a lot of careful, detailed work to make sure that the city's funding priorities are in order and that things are being spent on what the actual priorities are. And then, public works is how the city actually runs, and the streets and the roads and all of the things that we need to actually have a city that we want to live in. Skills, my bachelor's is in architecture. I spent 20 years in contracting for the federal government. I've managed budgets of 1.5 billion with a beat all the way down to $500. So I care about every dollar, but I also can see the big picture.
Butch Batchelder, I'm the Director for Human Resources and Risk Management for the city. The city administrator asked me to attend the meetings, so I'm happy to be here. I have varied skills. I spent a little over 20 years in the military and the Navy, so I've traveled a lot, and that whole time I was in the military, plus the time since then, has been I've served in human resources. So I've got pretty close to 50 years of experience in resources.
I'm Leo Evans. I'm the Public Works Director here for the city. Been in Canyon City for about 3 years now. Been a engineer, working public works, construction, capital projects for about 22 years total. Most of my time in Michigan before coming here, working for state highway departments and cities there. So I'm a resident here in Canyon City, got 3 kids in the schools, one in high school, one in middle school, one in elementary. So I live in public works every day, but I also have vested interest in it as a city resident that uses it myself. Thank you.
My name is Dan Francis. I've been here about 6 years in Kansas City. I'm a rancher slash farmer slash rodeo, bull rider, performer, steer wrestler. So we do a little bit of everything with the bulls and ranches we have here in Texas. I've been an entrepreneur since I've been young, multiple businesses from small to large, mail companies, work with cities across the country in different states that I have my businesses in. I'm not sure what I could say I have an asset to bring to the table, except just a varied variety of businesses and seeing how things operate from a business perspective. And I want to bring that to the table here. I want to see Kansas City grow. The reason I'm here is I have vested interest in this community. I'm not going anywhere. See great opportunities. If I can help move some great opportunities in the right direction, it's going to help other businesses. Then that's me. So, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm Tammy Nordic. I'm the finance director. I've been with the city since 2019. I've been in local government for about 23 years. So a little bit of background there, and it's all been in finance. I have my bachelor's in business management and accounting, and then my master's in public administration.
I'm Barry Bose. I'm a retired engineer, electrical engineer, computer engineer. Spent 30 years designing pagers and cell phones and laptops and AI platforms and streaming platforms. And when I retired, I thought I was going to be away from HR. But I guess not.
I can go sit down there.
I've been in Canyon City I've been living here for 9 months. I just got married to a woman down here. But I've been coming back and forth for about 5 years now. And I like the town. It's great. There's so much potential here. I want to help it, I've owned small businesses before. I owned a restaurant at one time in Austin, Texas. I've owned a consulting company. Today I own 4 or 5 rental properties and manage them, and so I've kind of been in a lot of different things, and I think I have some experiences that can help.
My name's Dave Little, and I worked in the water utility business for 35 years. Last 15 years, I was on the executive team of Denver Water, and we had a $300+ million budget. So I had to help develop that budget and make sure we stayed within the budget and also the financial components of it. But my real passion is water and public utilities issues. So we're going to get to know each other well, I'm sure. Talents, I ride a motorcycle pretty well. One of the biggest things I did in Denver Water was conflict resolution and negotiations. That was one of the major issues and related to my job, in addition to the water resources management and environmental planning stuff that I hope to bring some value to the city council. And if I can, then I will feel that I've helped.
Thank you.
Rick? I'm Ryan Stevens. I'm the city administrator. I've been here at Canyon since 2017. I came as the economic development director. And then I've been the city administrator since 2019. Background is in economic development, and before that I was in the private sector. And I also have 2 kids in the school system, one in high school, one in elementary, and Canyon's home.
Everyone, I'm Tasha Avery. I am a fairly recent resident. I've been in Canyon for almost 2.5 years now. And I'm currently work remotely, and I'm a data business research analyst type individual. My background's in social sciences. I have a master's and PhD in educational psychology. I think in terms of this committee and the skills I bring, I do have just a social science background, some systems, knowledge of systems, kind of understanding and processes in that regard. I've worked with small budgets for grants and things. But also I think I'm really just here as a newer resident of Canyon and somebody who's really looking for ways to get involved. I really love this area and I really love this town, and have been kind of like getting my foot in the door, trying to get involved since I've been here. And then these opportunities have been opened up, and you've extended, a lot of outreach to the community, and I've been really excited by that and trying to kind of seize that opportunity. So my skills, we'll see how they relate directly to the committee work, but I have a lot of, background in data analysis, data management, research, anything involving that type of work. Certainly presentations, speaking to varied audiences. I taught college students for a long time, and have worked in both academia and university settings, and also in the private sector corporate settings. So got just kind of a hodgepodge background. So it's nice to be here. Thank you.
I'm Mike Storica. Coming up on living in Canyon City for 68 years. Born here, raised here, went to school here, raised 3 daughters, have 2 granddaughters, and a grandson on the way. I served on city council for 8 years. So I know the process somewhat. I owned a car wash business, took it over from operations from my parents 22 years ago. Owned it and operated it for 7 years. Managed a $500,000 budget with that. Have a lot of experience in plumbing and electrical and that type of thing. Compared to everybody else, I'm just kind of a peon. But as far as education, I do think that brings something to the committee. And then being a lifelong resident, I want to see the city move forward, but wisely and financially sound.
I'm Greg Greedo, lifelong resident of Canyon City. Business down on Main Street. We're starting in 25th year now. I've served in several different committees. I've served our council, I've served our rec district, I've coached PB soccer, I've served nonprofits. I have a degree in mass communications. My emphasis is public relations and radio telecommunications. I guess what I bring to the table is if you can get cooks and waitresses to get along for 25 years, you can get just about anybody to find middle ground, so. Goal is just to look at some of these things and see if we can find some middle ground to, bring some new life to this budget.
I'm Tim Gaffney and lived on and off in Canyon since 1973, graduated from Canyon City High School. And I work in commercial real estate, basically mortgage industry, and concentrate on new construction as well as financing businesses and things. So I have a very good understanding of how things work, where things can be improved, hopefully, on operations for real estate. Also have a little bit of civil background in the construction side on that, truck and roads and all that type of stuff. But as far as what I'm here for is one of my big things is the swimming pool. I'll be honest. I think I can help to look at what the city and what we're doing as a whole on operations, hopefully save some money or find ways that we can increase revenues and not just cut costs, which I know that's a big thing for you guys on your end, is to making sure we do that. So I just appreciate being selected and being on here, with everybody.
I'm Elijah Owens. I'm the IT manager for the city of Canyon City, and information technology falls under this committee as well. I've been here for 10 years now, so we work on everything in the department, everything tech, hardware, software, top to bottom. I have an undergraduate in information systems, security, and networking, and I am about 6 months away from a master's in business administration and cybersecurity. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah. I am also born and raised in Canyon, so been here my whole life. Short 30-40 years I think then, but really excited to work with them.
Jerry Maloney. I currently serve on city council. Not born and raised here, but I've lived here as long as he's been alive, apparently. Yeah. Prior to that, I was planning commission chairman for 6 or 7 years. It's hard to tell, it went by so fast. I have a degree in business administration, that's in finance. I own a business downtown. Licensed in mortgage, licensed in real estate, and run a couple other ventures. That's about it.
Phil Lund, and I am the mayor, and I am absolutely thrilled with the diversity of people and talents that we've got here. And that was what this was all about, is to do that. So I would be remiss, I don't want to talk about myself, I want to talk about you guys and how much you're going to bring to the table. And I think that's true to the other committees, so I think this is great. I do want to mention one date, and I will mention a little bit about myself. February 13th, we're having a retreat, and all of you are invited to 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock at Holiday Inn. The council is meeting in the morning, and we're asking people who serve on these committees if you couldn't come in the afternoon. And it's a facilitated process, and I think we'll have some interesting time. So I'm originally from Michigan, and like Leo down there, and they've had bad snow, and we have had hardly any here, and we need to have a lot more in the snowpack. I've been in Canyon City coming up on 9 years at this point, and back in Michigan, I did serve as a county commissioner for several years, and I also led projects and did a lot of private sector stuff. I grew up in a small town or a small business family. I was the backhoe guy at an excavating company, so I'm familiar with that stuff too. I got a business degree and a law degree, and I practiced law in the past on several occasions in different areas. And again, led some pretty significant projects for Grand Rapids and 20 communities around there, dealing with GIS and tech and various things like that. So again, I'm thrilled with the diversity we have here, and Fred is the chairman, and he's on.
Oh, Fred Tony, I've had a place here about 12, 13 years. While I was here, I traveled the world. I ran a company that was worldwide. I retired from that and went with another company that does US, South America. Then I went to another company, retired from that one, and just did a US based one. I had an office downtown Denver, and I had a place in Granbury, Texas, and one in Montgomery, Texas. And when I did really retire, sort of, I guess at this point, we chose Canyon City. We loved Canyon City, and we sold our place in Montgomery, Texas, and our farm in Granbury, and moved up here, and we love it. We plan on staying here to the bitter end, and I'm running the bridge now, the World War Bridge and Park. And, I felt like I needed to give something back to the city. And, so I'm new to politics, new to government. I'm getting a lot of good, advice and guidance about crossing the line. There's some of that goes on. And, Amy says she's getting me a shot call, but,
No.
but that's something I'll address right now. So the city council, as you know, been involved here, city council sort of sets the policy. Sort of like a board member in a company. So we set policy. Ryan and his team, what a great team we had. This is a crew here, but they execute the policies. They do the day-to-day. And they do a fantastic job. So we're here, I believe, and set up these new committees, and it's gonna be a learning process a little bit here. But I think we've got a lot to accomplish, and somebody mentioned the pool. There's so many things on this list. We're gonna have a little session here to try and list some of those, and we're gonna have to prioritize it. And I envision we'll set up some working meetings. So we'll have city council and some focused groups so we can get things done. I'd like to have a 90-day success plan where we actually, not like a normal committee, we're gonna do something. So we want to get some successes in 90 days, and through 26, we want to do those too. So I'd suggest, for homework that everyone become familiar with what's online. You got the major plan development district. This is just a few. The city, city of Canyon City, the council orientation, I guess that's. But it's the fiscal year for 2026. Yeah, that's the 26. That's online. Picture of Canyon City. There's been a lot of work done on vision, mission, goals. So have a look at that because we want to make sure we're aligned as we go. We're going to be supporting the other committees. Someone has something on the other committee. They're probably going to come to us to try to work through Tammy and Ryan and Leo, the whole team, Butch, because anything we do can impact the day-to-day activity of the city and the workings of the city. So we don't want to overwhelm that. We want to be here to help, right? So at that point, I'd like to start listing some of those things. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, so the meetings will be the first Thursdays at 3:45 following the first city council meeting, which is the first Mondays of the months. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I don't get confused with saying first Thursdays. It's the Thursday after the first city council meeting. It's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, thank you.
The first city council meeting is always on the first Monday. So our meeting may or may not be on the first Thursday.
First Thursday that falls on Monday,
Yep.
like the election.
Kind of like that.
Okay. So we had a pre-meeting and of course, the chosen here didn't make that first meeting. I hope you watched it. But I want to put some of the ideas down for the FBPC. Good acronym. Yeah, that goals.
Right, so you can facilitate?
Sure, if you don't mind. Thank you. So somebody mentioned the pool. So we've actually been working on the pool. And I think we've had some success as we've been working on that. We've talked to the rec district, we've talked to the bonding agencies, we've talked to the city of Canyon City. So I think we've got some ideas. I think we've got some momentum. We'd love to get this thing buttoned down and by the first quarter of the year, so we can start implementing. So I'm sure the swimming pool would be one of our focus goals. Then understanding the budget. You see the budget there, because if we do anything such as the pool, it will impact the budget. So I don't know if you've seen this. I'm very impressed with you, Tim. She does a fantastic job, the whole team does, and they do it from bottom up. So we'll need to study that and get any questions to Ryan and then to Tammy. And maybe we'll be lucky enough to have a budget 101 one of these days. And it would also impact Leo and the Public Works, Butch, IT, just everything in the city here. So quarterly budget reviews, we mentioned those where we could sort of track where we're going to as we go through the year to see if we need to make any changes up or down. I think we're gonna have a great year this year. There's a lot of things happening with the 150-250. There's a lot of good things going on. So I don't really foresee, we had a drop in revenue last year. I really don't see it dropping again this year, but we're able to monitor that. So that'd be great. And as Tammy and Ryan said, we won't always have all the revenue at the time we do a budget review after the quarter. It takes a little while longer for that to impact. So we'll just keep that in mind as we go. Talked about, the URA involvement. So the URA, the Urban Authority, they'll be needing to implement some things, and it will impact this committees. There's a lot of things that I'll call them urgent things. The purchasing policy, purchasing P cards, water leak credit policies. A lot of things on the water committee will impact here too. We'll be looking at the 2A review, stormwater rate structure. So a lot of that will be under Public Works. The other thing, the public region building review, that's come up from several citizens. The council and the mayor have talked with Southern Colorado. Southern Colorado, yeah. So that'll be something that'll be on the table as well, that will require some understanding and goals. So as you came here, you probably had some ideas. So let's put your ideas up there along with these others that we sort of started, and we'll try and prioritize those to 90 in 1 year. Let's turn the page.
Oh, okay.
I failed to mention the ditch. You know, there was a state,
Nope. I appreciate it.
yeah, so state come up with something, it's gonna impact the city, it's gonna impact this county, the ditch boards, water, I think that's gonna be a major impact. It's very hard to navigate. Well, and this is my first foray into ditches. You have the ditches, you have the laterals, it's a spider web throughout Canyon City and the whole county, and one impacts the other. Stormwater impacts that, so ditches. Dan, you got something you're thinking of?
No, I mean, sure, got all kinds, but I don't know enough to throw out anything that would be, if we're starting with the pool, I mean, my whole thought without knowing too much about it is, I'm always about starting things to get them started. I mean, it'd be great to have it enclosed and have it in a building, but I mean, might be more enticing if we had a pool, let the community see that we could enclose it at some point and make it a 2-year or 3-year project as opposed to has to be indoor immediately, save some money, opens it up, lets everybody kind of come out and enjoy it and come back and try to add to it later when we get some more funds. But I don't know where that fits in at. I don't know enough about the ditches. I mean, I got plenty of ditch shares and I need all the water for where we're at with the hay and alfalfa and stuff that I do for the horses, but I like to learn a little bit about that. I'm not on the hydraulic board, but I have, the only person that has more shares than me is the Bureau of Prisons on the Wampert ditch, so, anyhow, and so they'll figure out whatever we can do, but I don't know enough about them, Freddie, to give you a bunch of other stuff. That's why I look up.
So you have businesses downtown.
I have businesses downtown. I own the U-Haul. I just bought the building between McDonald's and Jimmy John's, the 2-story building that's from the U-Haul and car rental business, maybe some office space. I'm not real sure yet, but I mean, it'd be great. I'm trying to get New Horizons to kind of move in there, but yeah, so I mean, that's, I mean, I'm all over the place, so it just kind of depends on where you want some input at. I mean, from the business standpoint, I mean, again, this was not my first choice of the committee after talking to Phil when I came here, which I'm happy that it is, sorry. But there was some other thing, but this is sort of, you know, when it comes to managing money and trying to put things in, that's what I do. Because I have plenty of stuff and I have 600 employees. So I've really watched the funds and where it's going. That's across the country. And we're doing, you know, big developments, in Missouri. So when we started, anyway, we started there and it was supposed to be really grandiose and I knocked it down to be smaller and now we're grandiose, but it took a minute. We're next to, if anybody looks up Oasis at Lake of the Ozarks, it's a $360 million development. And I own property right adjacent to that with the Marriott Hotel. So it's pretty, but we started real small. So that's kind of what, and I mean, I love Kansas City. I'm not looking for the Oasis. I'm looking for something that people can come out and kind of enjoy. So, and if it's the pool, I'm always like, you know, great to have a pool, better than what we have now, I guess, but you know, and grow on it, then close it. Figure out ways we can, you know, have, and I don't know why, again, that's just throw it out. So I mean, we have so many people involved in the community that are developers and I think there are a lot of people willing to donate time. And if they're not willing to donate time, they're willing to donate dollars. We haven't really asked for that. I haven't seen any of that. But I mean, I have equipment and we can, I think that we could dish out some of the work for a pool to really reduce the budget. I think people would come out of the woodwork to help us dig and put in stuff and donate and give their time, offer a potential brick in the city floor, or, you know, somewhere with the construction site, let them do something. I mean, there's plenty of contractors in this town. It's, you know, the hardest part's finding young workers. But
That's another issue.
yeah.
That's the economic committee.
You can't pay them enough.
Barry, you got some ideas?
Well, you talk about the pool, right? Obviously, that's been on everybody's mind forever. And what surprises me about, there are a lot of things that surprise me about the pool. One is the plan that came out included an indoor pool. And I'm like, why would a city have an indoor pool? And why doesn't high school have an indoor pool? I grew up in the most rural portions of Indiana. And I went to a high school that served an entire county of 8,000 people. And that high school had a pool. And every small school, every large school, they all had a pool, an natatorium, as we call it. And then the small towns had an outdoor pool for summer rec. It seems like something like that. I don't know if anyone's ever, they've talked to the school board about, you know, why don't you have a pool in Kansas City at the high school kind of thing.
Yes,
But-
we have had many conversations
Yeah.
with this. Unfortunately, their budgets are, yes.
And I think they said,
Well, they're in the
there's a
land.
couple of acres of land for you.
Yeah. Disclosed in the land,
So
their budget is.
It just, it feels like that they're gonna be they've gotta be part of the solution.
Yeah, and as I've
Very
sort of,
significant part.
as I stepped in here, you know, I had some grandiose ideas and I've learned, I know about that much, but I'm learning more. But, yeah, the pool, you know, that's 3, 4, 5, several votes for the pool, so that's gotta be probably at the top of our list.
Can I jump back in real quick with this, because when you said that, maybe, so I belonged to Cheyenne Mountain Country Club back when I lived up there, Colorado Springs. And when we had a meeting that, I don't know if anybody's been by there and seen how it used to start with a big bubble that was outside and it got popped when the storm hit, whatever. But that was an idea that was really started with, they wanted another pool, but they didn't have the money to build even that big place with all the community around it and all the rooftops, they still couldn't support to build an enclosed pool. They built it and they put that bubble around it. It wasn't cheap, but it was cheaper than to build them. And then now they're taking that down on some insurance money and been able to build that out. And it's nice. So it's just another thought that's not, you know, as a, just to leave it at an outside pool. And that was a heated pool. So it did have some more use. And I think that's our problem is if you build an outside pool, you're only gonna generate revenue 90, 120 days out of the year of that pool. So anyway, but it makes sense.
I also heard about some under street storefronts that we have in the city.
Yeah, I mean.
That seems cool.
Yeah, I mean, they're not up to code anymore, obviously, but some of the buildings on Main Street, for example, where World's End now is, does have the old storefronts that are one level lower. They aren't open to the public or anything like that.
It seems like that would be kind of a draw.
Yeah.
We talk about needing revenue, right? How to get revenue, how to get revenue.
What's that restaurant in Colorado Springs, the Rabbit Hole?
Rabbit Hole.
Yeah. Got some ideas?
Oh, I have lots of ideas.
Let's hear it.
Let's
Let's
see what-
get them up there.
One that I would like to understand a little more is how the city goes about its planning process and what the priorities are, how the priorities set. With Denver Water, I headed up the integrated resource planning process that we did a few years back. And you have a limited budget and you have an unlimited number of needs. So how does how are the priorities get set? What's the sequence? What's the process that you go through? And do you have a process, or is it more who screams the loudest, which is pretty normal in a lot of budgets? So I'm really interested in seeing that.
Right?
Can I build on that just a little bit?
Sure.
One of the things that I would love if this committee did was have a citizen involved process for building the 2027 budget. The city typically starts in, I think, June, July. But I would love for this committee to be really involved and like for us to come up with a way for us to help kind of help guide and steer from a policy level on the 2027 budget build. And I think that we would have to get started sooner rather than later for that to actually work. And I think understanding the process, obviously, first would be an essential step to it.
Right. Posture.
I think that I will just take the opportunity today to listen and hear about some of these, before
If you,
I'll have plenty of things to say, I'm sure, in the future, but today I'm gonna
if
listen.
you have any ideas after that,
All right.
just email me, call me, text
Great.
me.
Will do, absolutely.
That'd be great. We'll add that to it. Mike?
You know, the pool keeps coming up. I've lived here all my life. I was here when the first pool was built. I took swim lessons and learned to swim there. I know the history. The rec district was formed with one purpose: build and operate swimming pool. They've turned into a mega operation and got away from that main goal. I think the responsibility falls mainly on them. I'm sure the city, the school, everybody else can help. And I understand why the city collected the sales tax. That was the proposal, because the rec district can't levy a sales tax. I think moreover, if it had been a county sales tax, it might have gone a little bit better and if the county would get involved. As far as my expertise and where I would like to concentrate is public works, roads. I think our roads in Canyon City are the worst around. And before we go into the thrill of pools and Western Gateway and the power plant development, emphasis should be put on our infrastructure. Roads, water, that type of thing.
Great point. Thank you. Anybody want to add to that? That's a good point. Great.
I do take a little bit of Mike's approach and I don't put the cart in front of the horse. But there's always infinite need and finite resources. And sometimes rather than trimming the fat, you got to figure out ways to grow the beef. And I think that I would like to see us find ways that we promote a stronger commercial growth pattern in this community. Embracing businesses, embracing builders, embracing things that grow our economic tax base so that we have the budget to find ways to improve our streets, to find ways to work on trying to get our community a pool that we need. Like I can say that having worked on the rec district board, it did give me a lot of insight on the pool that I never had before. Since we're not in a pool specific meeting, I won't really delve into that, but I will say that it's a much deeper rabbit hole than I ever thought possible. And the legalities behind it and the requirements behind what is mandated on public pools is a staggering job for any nonprofit the size of the rec district is right now. I think that they are severely under budgeted and overcommitted. They are, I mean, I've even mentioned to some of the powers that be that, you know, maybe the time of the rec district as its own entity could have passed, there might be a different format we need to look at down the road for that, but, before any of that is put in place, I think that trying to grow a healthy commercial, vibrant tax income for this community is integral to anything, because that's what puts the money in the grocery bag, so we can get some of the nicer things.
So nothing happens till the sales made and the revenues.
What's that?
Nothing happens till the money's in.
That's right.
Thank you. Tim?
Yeah, pretty much the pool's a big thing of mine, having grown up here, kind of like Mike and Greg and some of the others that, and having my wife swim and she was a piranha, this is to develop, I am too. Kind of with the parks and the rec center, it was originally started to be, it was to run the pool. Now we're running parks all over the place, and there's never been any really budgetary increases associated with the parks and recs to do all that stuff. So that's kind of, and then I've sat on some of the, with Fred and Phil, we sat on a few of the pool board things, and I went with Amy out to the Parks and Rec, committee out there for a meeting with my wife, and I really like the idea of taking the pool and pulling it into the city. It's a viable entity. I think the Parks and Rec can still supply revenues too, because they do have a small budget for pool operations that they can provide it. But there's this also, you have the county involved that doesn't want to seem to do anything as far as a pool or any of those items that they need to be, brought into that realm as well. I also think that we need to take advantage of any outside help that we can get in terms of like Black Hills Energy. Black Hills Energy offers a cheaper, lesser electrical rates for specific counties in this, for people that come in and develop manufacturing and put jobs in communities. Those, I saw a study with the economist out of Colorado Springs. They talked about most of that's been in the Front Range area. And now Black Hills is looking at Pueblo, Fremont County, and several others, because they just feel that those areas are just kind of just too much, and so I think those are some of the things that we can do on that end, which then that allows us as a city to grow revenues. I also look at some of the things that some of the properties and this and that the cities have that are being used right now, that the city doesn't make one nickel on them except pay for maintenance. And those in the form of parking and things like that, that I believe that would be done, that could then be used to supplement the pool and other things that we have on our list. So those are kind of my areas of focus, as well as like you talked about, just overall understanding how budgets work and trying to, I will say one of the things, council people and the mayor and everybody, they've done an awesome job. I sit on the Fremont Center for Arts, and so we have to do, when we go over our budget, because we do receive funds from the city, is to some of the things you see in the budget that I remember, I think last year's or maybe the 2026, there's $160,000 or $80,000 to do an inspection, pay a consultant for all of our electrical poles in the city. Well, that's Black Hills always goes on the poles. They're responsible. They're not gonna let that grid fall to pieces, because then they lose money. And I was like, those are some of the items I think on the budget side that can be looked at and then drawn in and either reduced or let go, or however we need to do it. So it's not, everybody does the best that they can do. And I think having this board is really good, because people all have ideas on how to do different things.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I didn't know that, $160,000 to inspect those.
I thought that's
Black Hills
what it
just
was.
did that.
There was a consultant and I thought it got either the 2025 or maybe it's no longer in there, the 2026 budget, because it was when the same time we had. And there's one of the council people, I think they approved it, but it was like 160 or whatever it was to do a study of our electrical.
We didn't actually, we had that in the budget.
Okay.
We're calling it a poles and wires study, but that study did not actually occur.
Okay.
Because the poles were just inspected by Black Hills. I know they came around, they drilled holes in them, they tested them. If, then they put some kind of chemical in them to treat them and plugged a hole in it. And they were, and if they were bad, they were marked and they've been replaced.
I'm not on the energy committee and I wasn't, I've never been on the energy committee, but my understanding is the energy committee thought that it would be worthwhile to have an independent assessment of the infrastructure. So that as they were considering other opportunities and other possibilities, they would own essentially the information, whereas with Black Hills study, Black Hills owns it and the city doesn't necessarily have access to the details. But again, not on that committee, so I don't want to speak for them. But we didn't do the poles and wires.
Yeah, okay,
It's not.
And it's not in the 26 budget.
okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Frank.
Dan, you again.
I know, me, so I'm just listening, so I'm not good at, the reason I probably haven't been on a lot of committees and groups is I'm good at the committee outside person, but I'm bad at rules and regulations, we'll call it, so I'm making sure. So in this particular situation, I'm sure I'm gonna get, this is not right, but why couldn't you quote step back, privatize the pool to some developer, allow him to get some TIF, some tax increment financing, some bonds that he could potentially sell with the incentive to, once it's done, that he gives that back, donates it back to the city. And that can be done by a group of developers and investors, so it takes it off the city's budget. You allow them to use the land that the school's given. It's just an option, we've done it to tax increment financing in other states. I've done something very similar. I know that, when I was looking at the partnership with the hotel, St. Cloud, there was a lot of tax TIF dollars there. And, they were able to get that done, but I just think that, I mean, we're a small community. We kind of gotta be creative because I don't even know outside of listening, I mean, we're not getting enough tax revenue from the gas stations and the tire shops. I mean, that's what we're. I knew to get that, but I mean, that's not, so we're, and there's not enough other business. We don't have enough rooftops to draw a big box user. I've looked, I mean, I've tried to bring big box users to town. We don't have enough rooftops. We don't have the revenue. We don't have the income, but we do have the reach, I think, to find, to privatize. Anyway, it's just a thought. I mean, and again, it may be completely against the rules and not allowed. And I'll probably have 100 of those ideas that don't, not allowed.
Oh, those are great. This is why I know we're gonna accomplish some of these things. The pool is one. So
I think that
the pool makes the list,
I
right?
think that for the pool, one of the things that's really important on clarification is that like. The disinformation campaign that was put out by individuals this year was really confusing to the public because the public approved the money to build the pool. So there's the 23 million is in an account or is building in an account as we speak to build the pool. So the funds to build it are not the question. It's the operational funds for the staff and the maintenance of it every year. And the problem that they keep running into is that, well, so we commit to 100,000 donation this year. Well, what about the following year? What about the following year after? And so that's why, you know, in helping us find a solution for the pool, we have to find something in perpetuity that's going to not be here for a year, 5 years, but for 10 to 15 to 20 years. And that misinformation campaign, I think, really, it basically made people of Canyon City question, well, do we need a $20 million pool? Do we need an indoor pool? Do we need an outdoor pool? Well, it wasn't even that. The city, we as citizens of Canyon City approved the pool.
So it's basically the budget to run.
The budget to run,
Okay,
exactly,
so-
yeah.
So why not privatize that with a non-for-profit? We have
hang
plenty
on.
of non-for-profits.
Hang on, we're just looking for the
Right.
ideas,
Right.
the focus goals.
Right.
We don't wanna solve it.
No, I
Right,
understand.
right, no.
We're not
And
solving
I
it,
just,
but-
and the only
but
reason I
if-
mentioned that is I just wanted to bring up just
But if
what
it's,
we're solving.
if it's the funding to run it, I mean, that's a non-for-profit opportunity for somebody that you could present, that, you know.
I don't believe community pools are notorious for making money. It's a
Pardon me?
losing, they do not make money.
No, I get it.
So it'd be hard to find a private entity to say, hey, we'll operate it.
Right.
They just lose money.
Okay, the pool is on the list.
Pool's on the list.
Okay.
Move on. So we've had some great attendance here, and I want to ask the audience some of their ideas. Mr. Bandera.
No, well, being in the theme park business for the last 60 years and last 18 of it in at the Road Works Bridge and Park. And helped open up Six Flags over Texas and Six Flags over Georgia and Six Flags over Mid-America. I mean, I think theme park. So I'm thinking, the public-private entity at the bridge has worked very well for 95 years. And I was thinking, maybe a public-private type of, an organization for the swimming pool. But
You ain't bringing up the pool again. are you?
yeah, the taking, no, I'm taking it to a water park.
Yeah.
Something that an operator can make work and make money and operate the pool and add all the, the water park attractions and that type of thing. So it would become a theme park, a tourist attraction.
That's a great idea, and I think you hit on something, the public-private piece there, so that's probably something that the workshop for the pool would consider all these ideas.
But you gotta find an operator, and there's plenty of them out there. Six Flags only operates about 30, water parks and we're a little bit, the season's a little bit short for a water park, so we'd have to get creative there. Could happen.
Anybody else from the audience?
And
Can you identify yourself?
yes, Jeremy Reeves. So I noticed with the last campaigns and efforts to try to make the pool happen is that there was a lot of not communication as well. And I hear a lot of ideas and ideas are awesome and stuff, but knowing what the rec district worked on, knowing what the pool committee worked on, I would say that a lot of the ideas and questions can be answered by them. A lot of your ideas, especially, have already been addressed by them. And getting with them, making sure bringing them into this as well for your committee to understand what they've actually done. Because I think there's a lot of times, or what has happened is, well, why didn't you guys do this? And they did do a lot of that. And so understanding that is really bridging the gap between what Dorito said, the misinformation and the intent behind getting this to work. That there's really been a separation between those two things. And really just bringing them in, I would suggest, that'd be my suggestion, bring in all those people, because a lot of what they were saying was just dismissed. A lot of the stuff that they would have the answers for, nobody wanted to hear, as far as public.
We missed somebody, Rick. Can you introduce yourself?
Nice to see you, Rick. Rick Carmen, I'm the Economic Development Manager for the city. Not on this committee, obviously, but my job ties into everything in the city, especially public works. Especially the pool. My take is, everything is intricately related to everything else. If you wanna have, Greg's dead on, you wanna have public infrastructure improvements, you generate better to do that. Generate revenue, you need to attract commercial businesses to do that. To attract the commercial businesses to do that, Dan's right on, we don't have the rooftops. To create the rooftops, you need the infrastructure, to create the commercial, you need the infrastructure. You need the public-private partnerships because that's being demanded by the government. It's not being asked for. And we compete with, unfortunately, we don't compete with other rural communities, we compete with Colorado Springs and Pueblo. And they are considered our providers, so to speak, by commercial operators. Their retailers know that we're shopping there or online, so they don't necessarily want to compete. I'm really here just kind of listen to answer questions, but I was part of the rec committee, the first rec center committee, and opted not to get involved with the pool because that was a very painful experience back then. And this one was even much more involved. So gladly I was not involved, but we need to grow. The only way we can get off is going to taxpayers to fix our streets is to grow the community. And it has to happen through our own infrastructure, unfortunately right now. And we built a lot of infrastructure for that we consider placemaking infrastructure. getting people across US 50, making Main Street very attractive, getting all patios up front. Connectivity to the river, connectivity to the trails. It's time now for the market to come in and do their part to help grow our community. That's my focus. It's gonna require a lot of public-private. It's gonna require a lot of urban renewal, tax increment. And a lot of creative ideas. I have thought about your ideas for operating the pool. And we can get more into why some of that doesn't work. I love hearing these ideas.
And that's what I think this is about. We promised we'd have more and more communication with Canyon City and the folks out there. And
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah, so,
I do want to say one more thing.
yeah, go ahead.
I want to play off Greg's as well, that we have a separate economic development committee, and I could not agree more. I'm personally going to chair that committee because I think it's so important. And people don't want to hear this, but it's going to be on the table. We have a terrible reputation for doing business outside of Canyon City, developers coming in, et cetera, and we need to deal with it. And we can have all the good ideas we want, but until we change our reputation of being a terrible place to do business, we are not going to do well. And so, again, I'm wanting to put the things on the table. That's why we're looking at Southern Colorado Building Department. Our building department, not about personalities or anything else, but it has a terrible reputation, and we need to figure out a way to change that. And so we are taking a look on the council, and we're gonna deal with that in the economic development committee. We're gonna bring in contractors, we're gonna bring in anybody and everybody to do a thorough look at this. We can fix it from the inside, let's do that. We need to go outside, let's do that, but we need to absolutely step up to the plate and not wait another 18 months, 2 years, 36 months down the road. We need to get it fixed now if we're gonna absolutely do the things you want to talk about.
Thanks, Phil. So as we went through these ideas or goals to accomplish short-term, long-term, I think we need some workshops and some focus groups. So the focus groups will work on this throughout the month. We're only gonna meet once a month, so something's gotta happen in between if we're gonna make these changes. So I'm thinking that, how many work groups do we need? A little bit on the water infrastructure, right now, and if I'm exaggerating, I apologize, or if I get something quite not perfect, but I think we only have 12 days of retention water in case something happens. I think we have, in the summer, it'd be 2 days of chlorinated water. So things like that, I would think would prioritize some of our other things we're talking about. So let's not get lost in the priority of our tasks that we have to accomplish. The roads, the ditches, all of that. As I get educated with Leo and his team, we got 100-year-old water mains out there. That's amazing that they're still up and going. We got, but yeah, so we've got a lot of priorities, and I think the first thing, we've got a committee for for safety and quality of life. This group will have to support all those others, so as we think of these work groups, sort of think of that too. So I think one of the work groups is gonna have to be the public works. Drew? Yep.
Yes.
How long are you here? Okay, what's the next one?
Budget.
Budget, but finance and budget.
How come you didn't ask if that was true or not?
Because everybody knows that.
It's in the name.
Is there another subgroup or another group we need to add on to that? Okay, I'll say it. The pool. I think it was popular enough with this group, with the city of Canyon City and everybody that lives here. everybody will tell you Canyon City needs it. So I think we owe it to, residents of Canyon City to have that as one of the specialty items of urgency.
I think Fred, before we get too far, I don't know why we haven't explored the tunnels below town. Is there a way we can look into that as a city?
What's that?
The tunnels?
Yeah,
I've been down there, I know they're there. But I've only been on maybe a block or two of the.
We're gonna do it on the economic.
yeah, I think that'd be on that economic side there.
Even if just somebody offered a monthly tour in the summertime. You know, if.
Goes to,
Yeah,
It's an asset.
yeah.
that'd be in, your group then, Ghost goes. The, and I'm really not gonna put the Southern Colorado Regional Building up there because when it is, the economic group is involved in that, they're gonna hand it to us to do our due diligence in finance and budget and HR and all that piece. So I think we would end up getting a lot of, homework from the other teams, whether it's safety, maybe you need a couple more, officers. That would again come to the finance and budget. Then the public works would be the same thing. So that would encompass those. Am I wrong?
Sounds good.
To me, it almost feels like the pool is one of your quick wins. Like, I think we have to have a decision one way or another by April. Not that anything actually has to be done. We just need to have some clarity for the school district and for the city.
Yeah, for the state.
Yeah, so for the city to decide if we want to tell the state anything. So I almost wonder if pool should fall under finance and budget so that you've got like the longer term, we're looking at the 2027 budget build process, we're diving into the 2026 budget.
I would like a focus group on the pool reporting to this greater team. And then we could get together and pass off that homework,
Yeah.
those.
The only concern I have about that is simply people's time. They kind of signed up for this one meeting a month, and if we're doing focus groups, if we're gonna have too much, and if people are willing to volunteer for that, then we're good, but if that's gonna take too much time, then I think maybe it handles here, so. And I don't have any response for anybody, it's just mattered, are they open to going into more time than these once a month meetings?
Yeah, I think we'll have to, this once a month, and like I said, won't accomplish anything. That's why we need to break up into some focus groups and work groups, to be able to bring some of that work understanding to this team.
Okay.
The committee members won't be able to vote.
Yeah.
At the city council meetings, but the city council. So we'll report your ideas and the results of this to the city council. And to try to get a vote, whatever our decision is from the city council, at the city council.
Yeah, I think, Phil, with these mini committees or working groups, as long as people get like myself, this is when we're gonna meet. Then
You guys are good with it?
yeah, I can move my schedule around and not travel or not do things then, or sometimes you miss,
Okay.
but as long as you do your groundwork.
As long as you guys are good with it.
Yep.
And I think there's also enough people that not everybody has to be on every focus group. We can kind of pick and choose based on their expertise and interest.
Can we just, I want to just define what Amy was talking about, why April? So the city is collecting the sales tax for the previously passed infrastructure part of the pool. What has been missing is the operational, and by April 15th, somewhere in there, Amy can correct me if we're off the date, but I think it's pretty close. It's 45 days before June 30th. We have to let the state know that we're not going to collect the sales tax any longer, otherwise it continues to collect. And if we can't solve this problem, then we probably shouldn't be collecting the sales tax. And so that's why we need to come up with a go or no go. Otherwise, stop collecting the sales tax for the pool and call it good at that point. So that's the April deadline.
Where does that?
So you need a workable operating budget to.
I do not know.
No, we just need to
Tammy,
know, is this something that is on a trajectory to being solved?
But it's actually not.
Or is it not? So we need to
Oh, that's
do
also-
quite a few Yeah, we need
How
to
to
do
go
quite a
back-
bit of
go
due
back.
diligence over the next couple of months to see if, can we find the money, can we not?
Is
So,
there
so
a
what I'd
legal-
like to do is,
Is there a legal thing that in there that says if we're starting to find something that may work that,
No, it's entirely council's discretion.
okay.
If we do not actually end up building a pool though, we will have collected a lot of sales tax and there's no way to send that sales tax back to the individual consumer who paid it. So then the city would most likely have to look at putting something on the ballot, asking the citizens what to spend. It just, the longer you do that, I think the less trust and faith you have in your
Yes.
citizenry. And I never want to collect
No.
a dime from anybody that we don't have really strong compelling case that they have bought into and said that they want.
Right. I just look, we're
Yeah,
in.
but there's no
we're in
legal-
February, and that's a really quick, short time frame to get with, all the
Sure.
moving pieces, so.
And is that a one time a year option?
Twice. July first
Yeah.
and January first, 45 days before each one.
okay, yeah, so all this pool information you're asking for, the pool workshop, or working, we'll be putting that together and presenting that with some ideas at the next meeting, for the total committee. So all this information you're asking for, the history, that'll come out in your due diligence as the team works together for working with the rec district and the city. So here's what I'm thinking. So we break it up into some of these work groups. The city council members will be helping with these work groups and we'll assign some of the team in here, the members of the committee, to these work groups. So we'll give it a talk and, think that's why I wanted your skills and your wants and your whys. And, we'll give you a call as we assign these to see if you still want to be on some of these committees, whether it's public works, finance, budget and such. Yes.
The stormwater rate, would you come under public works, is that where you put that?
What's that?
The stormwater, would that come under the public works?
Yeah.
That's sort of the water.
So, yeah.
It's water, but I'm cool too.
City might give us a break.
Yeah, right.
Freddie, I don't know if you've heard that, but I do think that raises an interesting question. How do you see these focus work groups, I guess, interplaying with the other committees that are established, like the water committee?
So I'm on the water committee. I think, we've got the water committees here, so we'll bring that. If it comes up, questions in that, we'll be able to go to those committees and work with them. I think all the city council members here can always sort of steer us to those other committees, get information as needed, for those. So I think that's why it's important to have other council members, the mayor on some of these committees.
So from a public works standpoint, let's just focus on that. So would the water committee then work on the water issues and the public works would work on everything else? This public works committee would work on everything else?
I think that was how I envisioned it, but I think it's really up to this committee how you see the need to split that up. We have the existing water committee that has established and, good expertise and good membership on that. I'd hate to take things away from them or do them twice. So they've traditionally handled anything water and stormwater stuff has kind of passed through them as a first blush anyways.
So maybe the definition of public works for this group is everything that's not those things that you're involved in, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Does that make sense?
Does, thank you.
I think the only distinction, and sorry to be such a process legalistic person, but the only distinction is that according to the city charter, when we have ordinances that have a penal clause in them, they have to go through a committee that has at least 3 council members on them. So I would imagine like stormwater would go through the water committee first. It would then have to come
Sure.
to this committee, or be referred to this committee before it can go. I know, but you only have 2 intentionally so that they don't have to be,
So that brings up another, the meeting rules. So right now we have 3 council members, 4 council members here. So as I checked with your attorneys, as we put these together, we can have only 2 council members because they're voters, but we can have as many committee members as we want on these. And communication, if you have three or include three in a text, a chain text or a chain email, then we've broken that meeting law, right? So we'll have to be careful how we communicate. Don't answer reply all or answer a text to reply all. So I've learned that through the first 30 days. Bill?
When we were discussing having these kind of committees, one of the things that came up was, won't this slow down government as opposed to speed it up? And my statement back on that one was, no, I think it's gonna absolutely cause more efficiency because people are making quick decisions. And I just want to make sure that we all have urgency as part of our criteria for moving this forward, so we do not get bogged down and government lives up to its reputation of absolutely being slow. So whatever we put together, let's at least keep it so the balls are rolling, decisions are being made. We get it back up here, we get it before the council makes a decision, and we can move government forward as opposed to bog it down.
Yep.
So.
Excellent. Yeah, that's that 90-day success, 2026 success. We're already 30 days into the year, so we're gonna have to do this with urgency. So, is there any more questions? Any more suggestions? Like I said, I want to pull this away so to get the council involved and work through these committees, give you guys a call and see if you're still willing to serve the community after this meeting.
I'll just say, I don't think it warrants a separate working committee by any stretch, but I just want to echo that I think your idea about the kind of initiative around citizen engagement in the 2027 budget planning. And I think to even taking that one step further, kind of extending that out and just community engagement and just transparency and communication on, on what this committee and the other committees are doing, I think is really helpful. So I don't think that needs its own working group, but I think it's a nice overlay for everything that, for the general work that we're doing and for those recommendations. So I will continue to think of threads or ways to just keep that integrated and woven into the work, so.
Yeah, again, and I'll emphasize, it's gonna be important to work with Leo and Tammy and Butch and Rick, so we can really understand. So a lot of questions and suggestions about the pool, a lot of that is water under the bridge.
Yeah.
And, there's things we can and can't do, and I think we've defined that to a point, we know where the boundaries are. So I think we can go forward and get a pool for the city.
Well, another thing that's gonna be really important here is, these subcommittees are gonna have to have an educational process. I'm gonna have to understand what Public Works is doing if I'm on that committee. I'm gonna have to understand the finance and budget side if I'm on that side of the committee. That's almost a prerequisite before I can say anything intelligent. And I may not be able to say anything intelligent even after I learn, but that's critical. So it's almost like we have to go to school.
One place that I would highly recommend, just as a starting point, is in the 2026 budget at the beginning of each section. So here's Public Works. The directors actually put together an overview of what the Public Works Department does, what their 2025 major accomplishments were, and what their main goals are for 2026. And I think that those are, it's one page. It's obviously not everything, but it's a good starting point. And then that might lead you to have questions as we engage with staff.
And when you look at the 26 budget, if you read the budget message, that gives you an overview of the entire budget to say, okay, we've added this staff, this is the priorities we're looking at for capital, this is, so it gives you that in the budget message.
Yeah, I've read all that stuff, but what isn't in there is that I didn't see anywhere is how the priorities were set. These are the priorities. Okay, that's great, but how are they set? That trade-off is critical in the budget process. I'm sure you have a process that you use. That's what I'm interested in understanding, and so I'll need to hear from you and talk. I won't be able to get it out of the reading that I have, so I'm gonna need special help.
And we have a lot of, the city as a whole has a lot of master plans. Water has one that identifies what their capital priorities are. So when you budgeting for them, that's how those are done. We also have, that as it relates to parks master plans. We have a lot of master plans and all. And most of those I think are available.
So I want to follow up on that. I want to stress, again, if we can make it on February the 13th, which is 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Because priorities is going to be a big issue on that day, the council in the morning, as well as citizens in the afternoon. And the facilitator is all about that, of pulling out from people priorities as far as what they want to go.
So we're gonna be facilitating.
It is, yes.
Oh, boy.
Yep. He's good. And Holiday Inn Express, yep. Open to citizens as well, but specific invitation from 1 to 4 o'clock for uniforms.
I'll do that.
Is there snacks?
What's that?
There's snacks too, right?
There'll be snacks.
I want to come in.
All right, well, there's another meeting after this one, so I appreciate everybody's time. Thanks for volunteering to serve, being a member of this
Thanks for the.
group that's gonna actually accomplish something today. Thank you very much, and we are.
They're better than my.